this is Doug here from the Abstract Recording Studios, and today I'm going to go over a quick tutorial on how to function with Flex Pitch. Flex Pitch is an amazing new feature that was just added in Logic Pro X, and it's essentially like a Melodyne or an Auto-Tune included in the software. It's the only software I actually know, the only DAW rather, that actually has some sort of some sort of pitch control. Pro Tools has something similar, but it doesn't even come close to what Logic allows you to do. So first things first, I'm going to go ahead and import a vocal to play with here. Now this vocal does have some reverb on it, but I think you'll definitely get the picture here on how to use it. And so I'm going to select to have content added, and there, I guess there's an EQ or something here. So the first thing here is to make sure that you have Flex Pitch enabled here. I think normally this icon is purple, but you want to hit this button right here. It allows you access to all of your Flex functions. The second thing that we're going to do is we're going to engage Flex on this particular channel strip. Let me do that by hitting this button here. Okay, so while it's analyzing my channel strip, I'm going to go ahead and strip this vocal back to where the vocal begins, and we'll let it go ahead and do its thing. I'm going to change the algorithm to Flex Pitch, and you'll notice that now here in my track section, I think it actually defaults to the file here, but if you hit track on this lower portion, the file editor, it gives you access to something that if you've used some sort of pitch correction, should look somewhat familiar. You have two ways to adjust pitch in here. You can actually just adjust the pitch in your region directly by just grabbing, different pitches. This is actually muted, and getting access to it that way. Or you can actually go in and fine tune things here. If I want to do just a quick fix on something, I have the ability to do that. What I can do is I can just actually select specific pitch events within the regions directly, and then I can adjust those down and then put everything back kind of on pitch. Let me undo that. Or my other option is to actually go in and adjust things kind of specifically, and we'll go into more detail on that later. So let's just listen to the vocal as is before we make any adjustments and kind of hear what's there.
I've been crying for days, I've been sleeping away. I know fight all these demons, they come in my way.
So it's actually really beautifully sung. The unfortunate thing is in today's music industry, we pretty much auto-tune everything. I mean, there's literally not a vocal that I record that we don't, add some sort of pitch correction, whether it's an effect or it's just fine-tuning the performance. It's kind of expected. I think the listener expects it, and definitely your client's going to expect it. Even if they didn't sound so perfect, they're going to want to make sure that they sound perfect. There's nothing that blows a client away more so when they can maybe sing okay, and then you play something for them that they recorded, and it's perfect and it sounds amazing. It's a huge skill to have. Also, the other side of this is there's people out there in the industry that all they do is auto-tune. They make their money solely from doing auto-tune. It seems like it'd be relatively easy to do, but to be honest with you, it's a huge skill. To be able to fine-tune something and create harmonies that weren't necessarily there, or to add texture dimensions and those types of things. So I'm going to go ahead and just tune this for you really quickly and give you a sense of what this can accomplish, and highlight some of the better features of this software. Okay, so again, you've seen we can adjust the pitch of something and bring it all towards the center line. A lot of people think that these blue regions here, they're that they're actually note values, but they're actually not. What they are is it's saying how far from the perceived key this software actually thinks that you are. So I'm going to go ahead and just do that, and we'll press play and we'll listen to that.
I've been crying for days, I've been sleeping away. I know fight all these demons, they come in my way.
And actually, that's a little rough. I actually didn't like that at all because it made some of the notes a little flatter than I thought they should have been. So it's no quick fix here. So what we'll do is we'll actually go in and we'll process it the way you would in like a Melodyne situation or something to that effect. So the first thing you'll notice is when it analyzed the note value, this first note here, it's actually two different notes. When she says "I've been crying," she actually slides up on that. So it actually registered it as one event. And the problem with that is if I only wanted to adjust, a specific part of that, I couldn't. So if I move it down a semitone, so now it moved both of those notes down, where that's obviously a problem for us. So if you are working in this, what I've found is that it's a lot easier to set your secondary tool option to your scissor tool when you first come across a vocal like this, wherein I can just highlight 1 and 2 areas wherein it clocked things that were being sung on 2 different notes as one event. So we're going to go ahead and separate those. And again, if you're unfamiliar with this secondary tool option is available in your arrange window and in the file editor specifically. You can set your secondary tool to be any of the tools here. And, the way this functions is if you hold down the command key, it gives you access to whatever that secondary tool is. So I'm just going to go ahead and clip these 2 events, which I know are on 2 different notes. We may even have to go, in depth more so, but I just know that immediately right off we're going to do that. And then maybe I can go ahead and select some quick fix options, maybe select these 2 and then pitch correct them so that they're close to. I've been crying for days. And that actually sounds pretty good. You can do that on multiple notes, select them, and then just choose the 100% pitch correction option, and you'll see that it snaps those back onto where the closest whole note that it was sung to. I've been crying for days, I've been sleeping away, I don't fight all these demons, they come in my way. So, that was a very quick way to fix, that. It wasn't bad before. It was an artistic choice to be a little bit sharper on some of those and have, slides that kind of, fly through semitones rather than hitting them directly. And some singers sing that way. That's just the way it is. Let's go into now and show, how to, maybe create an effect using auto-tune. Everybody, is into the T-Pain type thing. And you hear it on hip-hop records all the time. So I'll just quickly demonstrate what that would look like. I've got these first, 10 or so notes selected. And if you'll notice, all of this line that goes up and down, what it's referring to is it's actually showing the vibrato of what was sung or sliding from one form to another. But I have control with these 6 dots that are on the event region here. And I can control different things about that note, okay? First of those is pitch drift, and that's the top 2 dots. Pitch drift refers to the note that's being sung into and out of that particular event. So if I move this up, you'll see that all of those, because I've got them all selected, are now, they're moving up or down. And if I change that and I've been crying for days, puts a different inflection on how it was sung, move them down, it's the same type of effect. Crying for days, I've been sleeping. So the actual region, the actual note that she sings stays the same, but her sliding into or out of that note, I've been crying for changes. Same thing with the end. I've been crying for and it's very subtle in this case. The times when I would use this in Melodyne and things like that is when you maybe make an adjustment on a note and it just sounds a little bit unnatural. If you adjust the pitch drift into or out of a note, it has a tendency to make things sound a little bit smoother and like a real human being is singing them. And you're using auto-tune or Melodyne or something that affects you, kind of naturally augment, make it sound as natural as possible. unless again you're using it for an effect, in which case you would basically flatten and take all of the human factor out of the note, which is what I'll demonstrate here in a second. So that's the top two dots here. The center dot is just fine pitch adjustment. So if she's just a little bit off, or he, as it were, then this adjustment will have the ability to, just make those fine tunes. Actually, in this case, she doesn't need it, but I'll show you what it sounds.
I've been crying for days. I've been crying.
So now she's singing the same note. The other way to adjust pitch on a grander scale is just to grab the bar directly and do it that way.
I've been crying for days.
Okay, this bottom is four-inch shift. Bottom right is four-inch shift, and what this does is it makes the note sound like it's deeper or higher sung, without actually affecting that. So I'll give you an example.
I've been crying.
So it sounds like she's all of a sudden turned into a chipmunk, but she's actually singing the same note. It's just the inflection that's different. And formant, what it refers to is like the nasal region within your nose that you can kind of adjust, as a being a human being. So sometimes, again, it's a way to make things sound a little bit more natural. Just adjusting the formant kind of up and down a little bit. Or again, maybe you're trying to get a dramatic effect, and you want the chipmunk sound for some strange reason. It gives you the option to do there. And then this left one over here is actually the gain. So you can make just this one little bit louder.
I've been crying.
And again, that's another way to get more natural and a more even vocal. There's other ways to accomplish that using compressors and things like that, but this is just a quick fix to adjust gain and, again, make things more natural. The thing I really want to focus on here is this vibrato, which is this center dot here on the bottom. And you'll notice if I move it, all of a sudden now my line has become completely flat, right?
I've been crying for days. I've been sleeping.
So it gives this kind of auto-tune kind of sound here. If I actually take all of this and then adjust the vibrato.
I've been crying for days. I've been sleeping away. I know fight all these demons. They come and
do it again here.
I've been crying for days. I've been sleeping away. I know fight all these demons. They come in my way.
So it sounds very affected, very kind of digital, very auto-tuned, if you will. It's actually a smoother algorithm than some of the other the other pitch correction softwares. To me, if I'm being honest, it sounds a little bit more natural. So I'm actually excited about that feature in my own use.
I've been crying for days. I've been sleeping.
So let's just undo that. The thing that you have to be careful when you're using any type of pitch correction software is the fact that you're doing things that are correcting the pitch, but you have to think about what are the artifacts that are being created as a result of using that. There's definitely too much. Even when you're trying to use auto-tune as an effect, there is, such a thing as doing too much. So, it comes with practice. You're just going to continue to practice and, get better at things and, adjust your workflow and, different things like that. But again, this tutorial can only take you so far. My advice to you is to, ask your tutor, ask your mentor for a vocal to practice on, and just continue to do this stuff over and over and over again. You'll get, better at that. If you have any questions that were left unasked, go ahead and ask your mentor. And that's it for now, guys. Thanks.